Hey yo, can y'all hear your boy? Your boy, your boy, your boy, your boy. What? Oh, sorry, y'all. Trying to sit. There we are. There we go. Yo, yo, yo. Got the mic check. All right, man. We're looking good. We're looking good. Once again, we in the stream. Show you how to make these cameras going well. All right, cool. I'm gonna show y'all how to make these templates. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes. This is a live stream. This is a live stream which will be edited down to a regular video later. Cause you know me, I don't like editing. So y'all this is what y'all gonna get live and uncut, and then we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it later. But I was just gonna give y'all, a lot of people are asking for templates, but you know, we'll talk about it. We'll chop it up. We'll chop it up. Chop it up. Let me go on YouTube and actually get the live there. OBS, the actual OBS, it seems to not, I don't know. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I'm about to share this to Facebook. Share this to Twitter, X. I'm about to share. I guess that. Oh, Instagram. Oh, Instagram make me send the like. I wish Instagram was integrated where share certain like it's only happens for certain things. For example, if I wanted to share a string, like one of the options on the phone is to share to Instagram. I wanted to like share like a picture and the link. Like it shouldn't be complicated to like. I'm not gonna lie, that should be a thing. That should be a thing. That should be a thing. Wholeheartedly believe that's what's supposed to be going on. All right, real quick, real quick. So the first part of this video is going to be talking about how to build a simple template in Studio One. It's nothing crazy, man. And what I'm gonna do is use the stock stuff that comes in Studio One, and then I'm also gonna use, if you're a subscriber, there's also the availability of the Fat channel, which can be also used as a really dope channel strip, one-stop shop for your vocal recording chain. I would have to say the only thing that Studio One really lacks is its own pitch correction software. And I'm not talking about Melodyne, I'm talking about like live pitch correction. Um which like like everybody knows Antares Auto Tune, everybody knows Crispy Tuner, everybody knows Waves Tune Real Time, everybody knows Slate Digital's Metatune. Those kind of things we would need to use. So in my tests, I will have to say that, and I'll give you a ranking as far as certain things go. Um, Studio One has, their stock stuff works great and it sounds great. There's no real reason you have to really go buy third party things. It's really a preference issue. And there are certain gripes that I have with the stock stuff, but we'll talk about that as we move on. All right, so start out on your Studio One page here, and you want to just go to hit new. All right. What's going to happen is normally it's going to come up with this here. What we want to do is just hit record and mix. Let's just go with that. Don't name it. Don't do none of that. Just go ahead and hit OK. All right, boom. Now we got our Studio One session open. And what we're going to do is start building our simple template. So there's two ways to build a template. The main way is to do everything within the DAW, talking about your input compression, input monitoring, low latency monitoring, and all those other effects. Okay, within a track. And then the second way is what I do is I have an external preamp and all this other stuff where compression is already kind of and EQ are somewhat solved already, and the rest is just processing within the DAW. So to start out, you want to make sure you check, you check your session settings, which are for me, I record at 48, 32-bit float. Um, Dang, now we got 64-bit float. Oh, that must be something new. We'll go back to that. And then your frame rate, we don't have to worry about frame rate if you're not recording. It's like a video. I turn stretch audio files to tempo off because we don't know the tempo yet when we drag our files in. We don't know. So I don't want any weird stuff happening when I drag an MP3 or a wave or whatever in and it maps it to a tempo that doesn't belong to it. Understand? All right. We don't have to worry about the mastering file. You can choose whether you get bars or seconds or samples. I stick with bars because it's easy to chop up the beat or whatever you want to do for your like little special effects and stutters or what. All right, so those are the things that you kind of want to check. Okay, first things first, man. I have for me, I'd use the drag and drop method. Okay, so what I do is I start with the beat track. All you gotta do is hit this little plus sign or just hit T on your keyboard and you'll create the beat. Yeah, I don't care about that. You create the beat track. I normally make this one like yellow or green or some bright color, you feel me? And so what I do is I do that and then I'll leave that as is for now. We don't mess with this for the beat. I'm sorry. Correction. Please forgive. It's an audio track. Name it beat. I turn the format to stereo, no presets. I turn the input. I don't know how you can turn it off, but don't worry about that. And the output's always going to be to the main track. For me, I hit OK. There goes my beat track. My next track, right underneath the beat track, is my record track. I like that track to be red or something vibrant that I can see. So I would name that record or record track, whatever you want. I have one of those. And then for me, I pick input L or whatever that is, whatever your mic input is. Okay. Boom. Okay. And I believe input L for me is number 3. Yeah, input 3. So you want to double check. There are other videos out there to set up your IO. I'm not going to touch on the IOs because that should already be kind of something you've already been to. All right. So my mic is set to input number 3 and boom. Okay. The next set of tracks are your drag and drop tracks. So I just go, my first two will be verse. Okay. That'll be the next two. Mine aren't typically colored. So I would do two of those. I don't do any inputs for these. I leave all this alone. But what I do want to do is make this mono. I've messed up on the other one. All right, so boom, those are mono. A quick way to change your track format is just to go to the mix window, hit this, change it to mono. It's as simple as that. Okay. The next set of tracks I'm gonna make is basically another set of maybe like another maybe the hook track. Oops, sorry. I'll make 4 hook tracks just in case they do dubs or whatever the heck they want to do, man. We can leave that alone. Okay. And then the next thing I'll do is I might change these colors again. I don't like that. I don't like it. Record always stays up there with the beat. Okay. So I got 4 hook tracks. Let me just change these. I'm not digging what the auto colors do. I'm not gonna lie. First, will be another type of color. Actually, whatever color scheme you want. I always just leave mine red so I can always like uh cue in on that. The next set of tracks, ad libs. I usually only do 2 ad lib tracks. Um, that's pretty much all I do for ad lib tracks, and I just color those whatever random, whatever. Maybe I'll just do shit. I don't know, whatever. Boom. Okay, got my 2 ad lib tracks. Those usually go right there. And then lastly, what is the other track that I have? I guess that's it. That's it. All right, so I got all my tracks here. So next, what you want to do is this. Hey, what's up, Sky? The next thing you want to do is this. You open up your mixer window, or you can do it within the inspector view. Is what I like to do. I turn the input off. We don't need an input on any of these really. Any of the drag and drop tracks. We don't need an input for those unless you plan on recording on those tracks. The reason why I turn those off is because we're not recording on those. Those are meant for playback only. All right. Okay, so on the beat, I I record around -12, right? And so what I want to do is I go to uh this might actually be in the mixer window. So in the mix window, I go to this track. Actually, correction. I go to the gear the wrench tool here, and what I do is I turn on input controls, and this is my way of gain staging these tracks. I make this -12. So off rip, if the beat you drag in is already maxed out at 0, no matter what you drag in here, it'll always start at -12. That is not blasting your ears when you need headroom or when you're trying to kind of gain stage initially. So the initial gain stage is very important. I have everything maxing out at -12 for the most part, okay? And then which allows me to turn up my headphones as much as I need to without uh uh hearing crazy distortion and all this other stuff. All right. Okay. So after that, uh 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 uh, uh one thing that people don't realize is at least for hip hop recording and rap recording, you can actually set up the inputs. So, for example, I have my IO set up like this. So I don't even bother with any of these. I remove that. So mine is just input 3. You can actually name these if you want. For me, I record with auto tune. I can't spell. I record with auto tune pro, whatever form of pitch correction you like to use. I slap that on there. Boom, I got my auto tuning. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to show you a couple of things you want to make sure you set up. So in the wrench tool for auto tune, low latency. You want to make sure that low latency is enabled for these tracks here. Okay. I believe the new auto tune is smart enough to detect when you are using low latency monitoring. We'll get to that in a sec. All right, so on the beat track, I have a few things you can use. You can use if you're using auto tune, you can use auto key. Slap that on there. Oh, here we go with Antares and their licenser. All right, anyway. All right, so oh wait, that's the first one. Auto key. What? I don't know. Whatever. Auto key. Mixed in key has one. Oh wait, maybe. Mixed in key has one. Crispy Tuner has one, Crispy, which is Crispy Scale. What else? There's a few others that so all you would have to do is detect the scale. AutoKey is dope because you can drag the file from your folder directly on here and it'll lock it in, okay? You set that up, and then I just disable the ones I'm not gonna use, okay? On the record track, I don't typically have anything. Everything for me is beforehand, all right? So, a couple of things, some other things I like to use. So on all the tracks, every single one of the playback tracks, I'll have vocal writer. I'm sorry, I'll start with I have a de-esser, the stock de-esser, okay? Then I'll have um vocal writer. Make sure it's the mono version. I'll have what else? Oh, EQ. I'll throw Pro EQ on there. What you want to do is make sure you're using the low latency joints, man. The low latency joints is the where to go. Any, and that's why I go with a lot of the stock stuff. All these stock things are low latency or near zero latency. All right, the next thing I'll probably have is another auto tune, just in case. You know, maybe they don't want to record with auto tune, and they're unsure, so they want to see what it's going to be like after the fact. So what I do is I just go here, highlight all the tracks, disable them. That gets rid of the latency. That just has it prepared to be turned on when the time is right. De-esser, vocal writer, EQ, and I'm pretty fond of a compressor. So I on my regular template I have the Purple Audio 77. You know what? I digress. I digress. Let me take it back a notch. Let me take it back a notch. We're talking about stock Studio One stuff besides auto tune. So then, what the next thing we're gonna do is add. I put a limiter on each track just in case, and I disable those, and then I also have a compressor, the stock compressor. All right. So this is the order of what I would normally have, and then you can set your settings based on whatever's going on. I normally would set mine at auto, but it depends on how hot you're recording into your input. Okay. All right. So with that being said, on your record track, if you don't have an external hardware and you want to kind of hear it with processing on, you can actually drop all this stuff onto your record track, and boom, there you go. You got like your preset. You can make a preset for that or whatever. The two ad lib tracks, however, I normally put X trim, and I'll tell you why. This is more than just a tremolo. This is actually an auto panner. But the key is you need to turn these into stereo, and then your pan mode is able to be activated, and then it's tempo locked, or you can sync it to tempo if you so choose. And so I usually have two of these. I may go into the EQ and set up this telephone effect or however you want to do it. You can set those up for your ad libs. You can also add in there phaser. These are all stock, and they all sound pretty good. Phaser and chorus. All these are within Studio One, and they all sound really good. You just got to tweak them however you want. And so this would be the order. One of these might be off, one of these might be on, however you want to do it. I typically have X trim on because I do like my ad libs to move around and be out of the way. All right, and there you have it for some of the actual tracks that the audio will go on. Okay, now, so how do we deal with this latency here? This 55 milliseconds of latency doesn't seem like a lot, but when it comes to recording, it will sound it'll affect the artist, right? So how do we handle that? So we're gonna go up to Studio One. I think in on Windows is Options. We're gonna go to Preferences on Mac. I record as low as I can go. I go down to 16 samples. That's just what my thing can handle. And what you want to do is and make sure that your thing. I keep my processing block on medium. I do mine at 64. You can go less if you so choose. But what you want to do is take a look at your low latency monitoring section. So when this green Z is on, it actually allows you to monitor as you record at 1.919 milliseconds, which is actually pretty quick. Okay. And that's with all the plugins kind of going on there. Okay. So now with that being said, you just double check those, make sure those are good, hit OK. Now, what's go- when we're ready to record, what we want to do is hit this. You see how this hit the arm record button. So you see how this Z shows up? The Z shows up, which means we are now low latency monitoring with low latency via this track here. Okay, your record track. So all your recording is going to end up here. You're going to drop everything down to wherever it needs to go on the verse, the on the verse, the ad lib, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Okay. And a thing you need to double check is this. The auto tune, I thought it would have enabled it, but you want to make sure this low latency monitoring is on, okay? And the way you kind of double check that is you turn your record button on and off, and your plugins that are within low latency monitoring will be green. Now check the bypass button will be green. Now take a look down here where the latency changes up. Oh, I'm sorry. A correction. So now that low latency mode is on, that actually reduces the total latency to 2.3 milliseconds. Okay, that's pretty freaking awesome. What that does is that minimizes the echo or weird phasing sound as a listener records. Okay, so an interesting thing to check also is when you go to your preferences, this remains the same. So at low latency, you're doing pretty freaking good. And for me, it still happens to be 2.3 milliseconds. You can actually turn this off by going here to the low latency button here. But I typically keep it on the master. That makes sense. All right, moving along. Okay, so if you want to pretend or not pretend, if you want to record through emulations of hardware, you can do that so that you can save CPU down in the long run. So, for example, the reason why I like recording with auto tune on, so what you're recording through is this, and it's permanently printed once you drag it to your tracks. Okay, so no matter what track, no matter so if this is on as I record, you will hear the auto tune. Okay, now let's go ahead and pull up Fat Channel. Boom. Fat Channel is such a dope plugin because number one is way low latency. I don't know if you noticed, but it didn't even add any latency to the actual overall thing. So what you have here, high pass filter. So if you want to roll off some of the super lows to control those plosives, you can. Just you got a gate and a expander. You have your compressor. You have an EQ. You have a limiter. So if you need a little bit of, you want to protect it a little bit more on the way in, slap that thing on. I probably put mine at like negative just in case. You know what I'm saying? And so the cool thing about Fat Channel is this. You have different flavors. You have different flavors. So you can go, y'all know what this is. Clearly it's a CL1B. You can record through that. You record through the actual Presonus design compressor. They actually have two of these. You can go through a Neve 33609 emulation. You can go through an LA2A. You can go through a FET or 1176. You can go through a bus compressor if you so choose to do something strange like that. You can go through the I'm sorry, the TLA C100. You can even go through a Fairchild 670. There's so many cool options within just the fat channel. All right. Equalizer, same thing. You can go with just a clean equalizer. You can go with a Politech style. You can go with, I believe this is a Neve style. You can go with the API joint, Baxendall, another Presonus designed one. You can go through the what is this? Um, Helios style, Helios console. Again, another like kind of tube tech, pull tech style EQ. And you have a forgot what this is. But yeah, all these sound really good. All these sound really good. They did a really good job with all these. And so again, just remember if your um effects are on your input, these will be permanently recorded as if you were recording through hardware. And so I might have glazed over it, but in order to see your inputs, all you have to do is hit the show inputs button. And then if you want to see your outputs, you can do that too. That too. So now I basically got my let's say I want a CL1B, the classic CL1B. Um, let's say I want like a Neve type of deal. All right, boom. I got me a little Neve joint going on. Give me a little air. Take out some lows, some low mid, just like I would do on the real thing, right? Okay. And now, oh yeah, and you can swap the location, compressor first or equalizer first, whatever you want. And then you can set your thing as you test your audio coming in. All right. Boom. Now you got basically all the stuff you're gonna be recording to or through. Next, you want to set up your effect sends. All right. So we all love to monitor through effects. So all these, including the record track and minus the beat, I'll set up an effects track, name it reverb. All right. The two things that I put on here is an EQ. The next thing I'll put is room reverb. It's a real man, believe it or not, this is one of the best reverbs I've ever used. I'm not gonna lie. Just like in Pro Tools and any other DAW, stock reverbs are actually really amazing. You just want to lock this at you want to lock the mix knob at 100%, choose like your flavor. I typically high pass this up to 500 with a maybe like 24, and then I'll probably do this, knock out the harsh stuff at 2K, and boom. This is it's a real simple thing to do. This is probably like the way I get my cleanest reverbs. Doing that EQ first, setting up the room reverb, and then that's it. And so what you can do is you can control how much goes to it. I typically set mine pretty low for hip hop and R&B. All right. The next thing I do is I add another effects bus or effects track, and I'll add let's see. I normally add like a doubler, but so we can add just another chorus effect there, and we can set it up like a doubler somehow. I can't remember the settings. I actually use a different doubler, like a not non-stock doubler. Set that up, boom. So if you want to ever add thickness to your vocal, you can do that. Boom, boom. And the next thing I add are uh doubler. And you can add as many of these as you want, right? So doubler. And then the next thing I add is oh crap, I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, delay. I typically go with the beat delay because it's the most simple one and you can actually do a lot with it. I may or may not add an EQ, but I typically stick here. I put it on 100, put this thing on 2 channel, and I set it to double. And depending on the tempo, if you got it specific tempo, these time constants will always work, whatever effect. So let's say I wanted 1/4. I'll name this 1/4 LY just to keep it simple. and then I'll make another one. So I'll just do the same thing over and over again. Same thing over and over again. Boom, effects. I'll just copy this. I'll just change it to 1/8 delay. Eighth delay. It's really simple, man. Really, really simple. So now that we got that set up, and you can color these however you want to color them. Now that we got that set up, why? What are some things to remember here? All right, I'll tell you. So, um, not all the effects you'll want all the time. So I typically I highlight all the tracks and just turn them off for those. And actually, I do it on the record track too. Just turn all these off. Mine is like the reverb. Reverb I find gives a little bit of space for the artist to kind of feel like they're really, in the recording. And then as I go, I'll feel whether they need a doubler or whatever as they're recording, or a delay as they're recording, to kind of help them feel that. Oh, there we go. That's the other thing. Delays. Sometimes the decay of the delay may be too long, or it might be impeding. So you want to just control the feedback. Typically, what I like to do, if the song calls for a longer delay, I will add a compressor stock, by the way, to each of those, and set it up to sidechain for all these. Just set it up to sidechain for every single track. I'll do the same for this one. Every single track that even the record track and all your drag and drop track. And what that's gonna do is, if something's going on, it'll knock that back. I'm not gonna go into detail on how to set the compressor, but do it to where it knocks things back enough for things to cut through. I turned the send level all the way up, so that no matter what, it's gonna do its job as far as knocking those reverb or the delays down. Okay. And so I turn those off also. I keep those. These are just things we're setting up to keep in place. All right. The other thing I do is I send the delays to the reverb channel. So let's say I don't want too much reverb on all the tracks here. I might turn it down, but I do want the delays to have some sauce. I just send it to the same reverb. Notice how all these things are going to the same things. This will save you CPU. It'll save you latency. It just say it's a time saver. I tell you what. All right. All right. So what's next on here? What's next on here? I got all my effects. I got that. Got that. Reverb set up. And what's next here? Got that set up. I think the next thing you might want to do, oh, maybe put a limiter on the master channel just in case. Just in case. And I just keep that turned off till I'm ready for it, or disabled. Okay, and you can just re-enable it as when it's time, when the time is right. All right. So I think my reverb here, HQ, I'll drop that down to eco just for the recording session. Doesn't need to be a high quality. All right. So this is typically what my sessions look like when I open them up. All right. You may want to add like a auto volume, or vocal writer into it, just to like keep the consistent level. If you don't want to do that, you could just set a additional compressor here, like I have here. And that's pretty much it, my man, and my friends, and my ladies. And so as you record, let's say I want to record. Oh yeah, there we go. I forgot. You can actually just make sure you have this set up to where you can monitor as this is going through. The other thing you want to have to take a look at are your settings. Solo follow selection, however you want to set that up. Where's the other thing? Monitoring follows record, and monitoring mutes playback. I usually have these selected so that if I'm monitoring on the record track any other like mess that's going on here, like let's say I record over a little piece right here. Let's try that. So like let's say I record over that. If there's some audio before that I haven't deleted yet, it won't play it. You won't actually hear this track until you drag the audio down to your. won't hear this track if this is enabled. That makes sense. Okay, and that's what mutes playback is tape style. That's what that does. It mutes the audio from the record track that you're monitoring. And that's how I like to work. I don't want to hear any of this mess. I just want to hear what's being recorded live. And then the actual recorded audio gets dropped down to. Okay, okay. What else we need to set up, man? That's pretty much it there. And I guess, one thing that I do know, I record. Okay, so let's talk about coming into the DAW. The level that I come in is normally around -18, but a lot of the times these beats are so loud, even when I reduce them to -12, these beats are so loud, man, that all you need to do is just raise the volume of the fader, and there you go. If you need to hear the vocals more for the artist, that's all you got to do, and there you go. It's that simple. Don't actually increase the volume on your preamp and cause distortion and causes other stuff and these other issues where you're recording too hot. Just turn the volume up on the fader. That'll give you your loudness without compromising the actual quality of your recording. Okay? And there you go. There you have it. Um oh yeah, you can even put fat channel on your mix bus here or your master channel here to, you got a limiter. We already got a limiter there with True Peak. You can put your, let's say you want a bus EQ or master channel EQ. You just use that Baxton doll, and then let's say you want to do an SSL compressor. Boom, you got that there. And and again, the dope thing about Fat Channel, it's all low latency. Normally, the plugins that I actually use on my other sessions, my third party, I have to keep these disabled because it causes latency. Um, so that's kind of the caveat. But Fat Channel, you don't typically have to worry about that on the input or the output. Okay, so there you have it. All right. I think let's talk about what did I say we were going to talk about? Let's talk about I guess that's pretty much it, man. I don't even know. I don't even know what we're gonna do. Just some things to kind of remember again. That I did not highlight. So on all these audio tracks, ensure that this is what I do. I highlight all the audio tracks before I even drag anything in. Turn off follow, put it on don't follow. This is in the inspector view. And so what that does is if there's a tempo that doesn't match or you need to change the tempo to get it right, it won't like affect the stretching of the audio. Just turn it off and then stretch the other way. They're using the stretch tool. Don't have this on. It will screw it up. And then but you can turn it on once you have your tempo and everything right, you can turn it on and hit follow or whatever you want to do. Okay. Um that's pretty much what I got, man. That's pretty much what I got. But yeah, this is what it looks like. So so now that you've got your template set up, okay, and the way you like it, the way you want it to look like, go to file, save as template, name it, blah 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 blah, and then maybe add an image or whatever if you got one, and then you can either replace an existing template or you can hit OK and it'll save it to your template folder. And then whenever you hit, let's say you go home and you got a new session you want to start up, new user, and then boom, you got your recording template. It'll load all this stuff up, and I'll show you my current template right now. Oh yeah, I forgot about X Writer. So yeah, you got M Auto Volume, you got Waves Vocal Writer, and you have X Writer. I forgot I had it. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I forgot I had it. I used it in a few sessions and just forgot, man. I got so many plugins. So here's my current recording template. Right now, the new auto tune is giving me issues, so I got Waves Tune set up. And as you can see, this is exactly what I use. The caveat I have is I have extra outputs, so I create a Q mix for the artist. So let's say I want to do like bust stuff and I want to do other things that don't affect the artist, I can have them listen to what the main mix, and I'll have them listen to their mix, and I'll mess with the main mix. And so, what does that do for the artist? So, a Q mix, if you set it up right, check this out. If you set it up right, let's say the artist doesn't want to hear themselves, you can this is the Q mix section here. You can unlock it, boom, turn the volume down for him, but it won't affect the volume for the engineer's audio. But if you lock it, it brings it back, and everything you do kind of changes it back, or it follows. Okay, so all right, so here are a couple things. Here's how I do mine. I got micro pitch as my doubler. On the side, I have Howard Benson vocal multiplier. I typically keep that one disabled for when after the session when I'll do the quick mix, or if I need to do it. Sometimes micro pitch does a great job, but for some people's vocals, Howard Benson is the answer. But what it does is it does add latency, so I'm careful with that. But you can see I got my 1/4 delay, 8 delay, reverb. I added Seventh Heaven, and as you can see, these are all low latency. So this version of Seventh Heaven is their standard $69 one, $70 one, and it sounds great. And then later, if I get paid to mix the session, I'll bring the Big Daddy in. Okay? And so the cool thing about Waves Tune, it's so freaking low latency. Look at that. Point two. Whilst um AutoTune Pro adds 2.5 milliseconds of latency, which is, I mean, not bad, but some I think Waves Tune got it beat. So yeah, as you can see, I got Auto Key, um, Crispy Scale, the mix tool. I keep it there just in case, but I typically do my gain stage on the beat initially with the input gain controls. And so that input gain is before all these plugins. Okay, it's after the clip gain, but before all these other plugins. Okay, so I have a compressor just in case. I have auto tune on the channel in case they not sure if they want to commit to the auto tune. So normally this would probably be boom. You see, I got my favorite de-esser, Lindell. I have M Auto Volume. This is my vocal writer. It just keeps everything level. Right now, I'm going with the TB Tech EQ. You see how I got this already kind of set up. Pro EQ if I need it. Auto Tune Pro if I need it. I have the Purple Audio 77 or a 76 compressor. I have the Gem Comp LA, which is basically it holds LA2A and the LA3A if you want to switch between both of those. I got those. I got Futzbox for distortion and other things. Um, X Trim. I can't find anything that's gonna beat X Trim. X Trim is just really good, so I'll just leave it. Yeah, man, that's pretty much my template, and it works every time. On my mix bus, I have the simple limiter that normally stays off. I put the TB Tech EQ, the Sontech EQ for the sauce EQ, and then I got the guard particle, and that's it. And decibel for my monitoring, if I ever monitoring. That makes sense. Um, so the reason why I don't have sometimes I have these off is because again I have my hardware to record through, so I don't necessarily need much but auto tune or waves tune to kind of record through. And as you can see, it's all very similar. My setup is not complicated. It is not complicated. It don't need to be complicated. It don't need to be all this unless you have set the expectation for a completely mixed song somehow, and you got everything sounding all extra crispy and all extra this and all extra that. That's cool. Some people do it, like the little baby template and all that stuff. But for me, my recordings are pretty clean and pretty consistent and pretty nice. So I don't need to do much except go here, and you'll see. I go here and just I'll probably make this into a shelf, and I'll probably raise this a few dB. cut this, and then this is what my record at the end of the recording session. This is typically what it looks like. You know what I mean? Um, I don't typically EQ on the ad lib tracks because my Futz box it has the telephone. You can create the telephone effect within it. So that's just kind of how that goes. That yeah, man. That's how you do. That's how you do a template in Studio One. All right, looking at questions. Yep, I use the X Writer. I should use the X Writer. How powerful is my system? My system, I have an M1 Max Studio. This I think is the M1 Max. It's really the base model one. So I got the M1 Max, 32 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage. Um, yeah, it's the base model one. I do regret not being able to get the one with more storage. I'm always kind of deciding on what plugins I need to keep and stuff I need to keep on the computer. But that I kind of solved my storage situation with being able to plug in a bunch of hard drives. So, consider that. When I had my MacBook, my M1 Pro, same situation, same setup, and they work similarly. I mean, even with the less RAM and less the storage situation, they both perform very similarly, no issues. The thing is to keep in mind how much you want to tax your computer, and that's why mine are set up in such a fashion. Any other questions before I call it a day? Again, this I didn't answer questions right away because this is going to be edited into a video, like a regular video. So while we're on this live, go ahead and ask your questions, and then I'll go back and edit it, and you'll see the rundown of how I went through all the setup. And yeah, man, to mix a 25-second theme song or to record a 25-second theme song. Hey, I ain't. I mean, hey, man, I just actually literally just recorded like a 35-second theme song the other day. Not the other day, but maybe like a week. To mix it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. To mix, man. I mean, it'll technically take me. I don't know. It depends on how good the recordings are. How good the recordings are. It's if the quality of the recordings need work, it's gonna take me a little minute, just like any other track. But I don't know. We could chop that up. You have to hit me on Instagram for that, my friend. Yeah, we could talk about that. And it depends on the number of tracks. That's the other key, and if there are any effects. So definitely depends. So yeah, hit me up on my Instagram, Mixed by Tori G. Okay, straight, straight. Yeah, yeah, we could chop it up, man. I would also like to plug. I'm gonna plug something. So I actually recorded a song by a guy named Mola, and he's got a song coming out tomorrow or tonight at midnight called "Venus as a Girl." It's basically a remake of Venus as a Boy. And man, he's the It was produced by John Robinson. And when I tell you this man makes some crazy remakes, we've already made a few remakes lately. So Mark Rubin made a remake of "Everybody Rules the World," the '80s song, and it's more like R&B, and that's hard. I like it. It came out hard, bro. And then, but this one is definitely something. So this one, "Everybody Rules the World" was like a rock, like a '80s rock pop song, and this one is more of a semi like it's hard to explain the genre. It's like Afrobeat ish, pop ish. Man, it came out dope. So again, check out Mola, Mola, um, Venus as a Girl, coming out tonight. Actually, yeah, tonight, midnight. Yeah. Uh huh. Any other questions or anything y'all want me to demo while I have a little bit of time this evening? And you know what though? I do also want to say, um, I ain't gonna lie, I'm impressed with what Waves Tune Real Time is doing, man. I'm impressed. I'm not gonna cap. For it to be zero point 0.2 milliseconds, this might actually stay on my template from moving forward. I'm not gonna lie. This might stay on my template. What? Joint smacky. Auto tune with low latency. Let's see. I don't want, and I don't want that. If you have any other questions, regarding making a template, or you want some kind of like one-on-one, hit me on Instagram, Mixed by Tori G. We can tap in. We can tap in. And I'll walk you through it if you need me to. I'll show you how to set everything up again, step by step. If the video doesn't help you or if it's not clear, definitely hit me up. But it looks like what I'm saying, it's one of them nights, man. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Everybody stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this. Share this video. And we'll talk soon. Y'all have a good night.